Good morning, folks. Dawn's running over grabbing some paper towels last minute. Today, Dawn is going to be...
favorite.
I should say, guild mating Dawn is visiting with us.
Yes. I couldn't help it. If I'm going to paint Fenrir, and we watched The Northman last night.
Yes, that was fun.
I had to go some Viking makeup.
We work so much that it's like, we watched the movie!
Yay, we did a thing!
So,
We'll figure it out later.
yeah, you're killing me with this. While I'm holding it?
It stayed.
So, Dawn's painting Fenrir, the old wolf by Artisan Guild.
Yes.
And when we start craft forging, we are going to be talking about pirates on the plain. I was writing about them recently. Kind of mentioned them briefly in one of our stories, so it's on my mind that we should talk about some stuff with pirates. Sounds like my coffee's ready.
It does. It does.
Dawn, you want to talk about your setup?
Yes. So, well, first I need to get my gloves on. My gloves or my hand.
Oh, we've got a loop. We haven't had a loop.
We haven't
for
had
most of
a
this
loop
year
and forever. So,
many months.
What I did was I sat here and painted while Ty worked really, really hard. Ty, go get your coffee.
I'm gonna go eat it. Yep.
But what we did was I ended up having I sat and had my little camera going, and Ty recorded it all so that we could speed it up and put it on YouTube. And this, my pretty little lady, which I love this model. This is by Clay Cyanide, and super fun Valkyrie. The only thing I have left to do is put the metallic on her armor and her helmet, and she will be finished. But super fun, super awesome. So that is our loop, is basically me going through and painting her up. Then the other thought I had was that it would be really cool because Fenrir has two head options. He's got the one where he is holding the moon sword, right there. And then he's got the head option where he has no sword. So what I thought it would be really cool, because I've seen people do this, is to magnetize the heads and the body. Magnets they're tiny freaking magnets. That's a row of magnets. There's one. So I would put one on the body, one on each head, and then I could switch out the heads and they'd be interchangeable. The only catch here was that he had a very large peg that fit into the head, which actually, was a really clean, nice, tight fit, which is awesome. It's not always the case. But so what I did was I sanded that down way a lot. Basically what I did was I took two magnets and put it inside the gap and saw how tall they were and knew I had to sand away most of that gap. And then I also kind of made myself an indentation right there. So I'm going to glue one magnet in there, one in there, and one in the other one. That's blue tack that he's holding it on to them. And that should work. That's the first thing I'm going to do, is actually glue the magnets in, because the wolf itself is a big black wolf with some gray highlights. So it's all gray, or it's all black, and then there's going to be a whole lot of dry brushing. But in order for both heads to look like they belong, I want both heads to be on when I dry brush the head, so that I can get that flow from top of the head to the back of the wolf. So the details are really everywhere else but Fenrir. His eyes, his mouth, his sword, and then the base. Everything else, like this whole portion of him, is really just going to be a matter of dry brushing fairly quick. I'm going to work on magnets, and I'm going to put these away so I don't play with them all stream. Got my 3 magnets.
You're not doing like this all day long.
They are fairly strong. I got them on Amazon, and they're fairly strong, and a lot of the reviews were like, not strong enough. Like, they're advertised to hold minis together. They don't really need to be all that strong. So a lot of reviews were, I should have read more carefully. These are tiny. I'm like, they're advertised as magnets for miniatures, 40K, Warhammer, all the stuff. They're not tool grade. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna get off that. I'm gonna glue some magnets in here.
So Samwise asked, are land pirates just bandits? This is one of those like developmental things right now that could totally change later. But so at the moment we have guides and we have mercenaries. The two big difference between guides and mercenaries is that guides are sort of smaller groups that are really specialized and probably have specialized tools. They're like adventurers, right? So they're a little more advanced at being able to do whatever they're doing. And mercenaries have big armies essentially, right? So right now what I'm thinking is that a bandit might be sort of using that similar recipe of it's 20 or less people that are trying to rob you out on the plane. But it's also harder for them because they're a smaller group to live, because they're actually, that's one of the other things, right? We always talk about nobody lives on the plane. They live on the plateau on the plane, or they live off of the plane, but it's too hard to live on the plane. These guys actually live on the plane because they're hunting farmers and buyers and traders and stuff as they're coming off the plane. So anyway, my loose idea right now, though it may change, is that if you have, say, 20 or less, then they're just called bandits. But if you have a group that's large and capable of fighting against a small army of mercenaries, then probably call them pirates. That's really how I'm differentiating right now. In the end, they may be bandits. I don't know. It just may be larger groups of bandits. See. But certainly a small group of bandits isn't going to want to go up against mercenaries, hundreds of people. But really, that's the only differentiation I have right now. Samwise says, if you look up Pokemon, probably going to butcher this, Dakian, that's the theme I'm going for with the one I mean, pirates are sea bandits. Yeah, that's true too. I was thinking that, and that's kind of why I wanted to set this apart too, is when you say bandits, I think, some guys with personal weapons jumping you on the road. And when I think of pirates, they're like skilled, specialized, faster, ships or whatever, that sort of fun stuff. The big difference being that, if you're on well, I kind of see two different things we could talk about, and maybe they both are a real thing. One is that pirates are more similar to like the Wasteland bandits in the Mad Max movies, where it isn't one big vehicle chasing your vehicle, it's a swarm of vehicles chasing you, right? Lose a magnet, baby?
I did, and I'm assuming it's on my zipper, but
so it could be like that. I think we could also possibly tell stories where there's like a large, it takes like 20 dog ox to pull this thing or so. I don't know. That's kind of nuts. We'd probably have to think of something else, because you're talking about something. How are you going to go over a hill with a land ship that is that big, right? But anyway, we could do specialized vehicles. We could do different kinds of groups that maybe most of them break up in that sort of Mad Max fashion, and maybe some of them just have a really fast way of traveling with a lot of people. I don't know. We got to kind of get into that and figure out what it's like. This time, what I did was sort of similar to what we did for sailing land barges. Sorry. For the sailing barges that we talked about last time. Wind steam-powered huge land ships. Well, possibly. like I've thought about that before too. Like maybe so a dog ox is strong enough to pull these things, but maybe something creatures that are faster, if you figure out a way to lighten their load with wind, giant turtle magnetics, or I don't know, something like that, right? Then maybe maybe that makes it so they can move faster. Show them on the screen.
So I'm struggling because they're so tiny, trying to make sure I have the right side down. Flipping around in my hand.
Oh, that's. Are you struggling with those?
Damn. Oh, I am definitely struggling, but the idea is sound. It's just getting it done.
Rockfin adds like they have sails that they blow steam into. That could be something interesting. I don't think that works on a physics level, but if you think about it, there's things that don't seem right that maybe they've figured out. Steam or with light, things that we know, like we've talked
Sorry, I
about
did it.
using spaceships that use light sails, that sort
Yeah.
of thing. Like, or if there's like a similar sort of like the light sail, but we use steam instead or something like that. Similar to hot air balloons. Oh yeah, I can see you can like lighten. Maybe you lighten the ship a little bit with balloons too.
Sorry, guys. I was way off camera with all of that struggling. But basically, I kept checking my magnetism that I've got it in the right direction. As repels one side and attaches on one side. That's my repel. There's my attach. So I just got it in there, made sure it was centered with my toothpick, and then I had it centered. I sprayed it to make it just stay there. So basically, I kept doing this and then taking it apart, setting that down, taking my one off, and then trying to get it down on the mat flat with the side I want up, actually up, and picking it up and setting it in the glue spot. But I was struggling so much that I actually forgot to.
So Rockfan just added another interesting bit here. Say the last thing we were talking about was maybe hot air balloons, which I can still see this is a thing, and maybe this is a separate thing. Or they find natural gas that lightens their ship. So imagine it looks like a pontoon boat, maybe. Like they have bellows, but some sort of bladders on the sides, like pontoons, um, that are filled with a gas that lightens it. Because I can see why both of these things would be good. This method, maybe you just leave it like that all the time and keep it filled, right? But maybe with the hot air balloons, you might get a little more lift, but you don't want to leave it out all the time because it starts attracting too many things that can devastate your pirate group. That's working well now, huh? Samway says, small metal things are why I don't replace the batteries in my old Game Boy games. I will lose and or break something.
Yeah, that's it. This is definitely one of those moments to just work.
Well, it's fun though because you haven't done this before. I like
No,
that.
I've never done this before.
Start a whole new thing.
Oh yeah, I've seen it done a bunch of times. Um, I mean, I've seen the outcome of it. I've not actually seen people physically do it, but
I'm getting off again.
yeah, watch the struggle. This. Oh, you bitch!
It is fun though. I don't know. Are you checking it or accidentally getting stuck on it now?
No, well, no, the first time I was checking it, second, third, and fifth time. Out. It's going to
I don't
be
know why I'm on this screen for this.
Fuck you. Going to be worth it. Gonna work. Now that's in the center. So now I'm gonna spritz over this trash can. So that is a magnet in there, there, and there. And here's the worst part, guys. We don't even know if these magnets are actually strong enough to hold his head in place. Because there's no way for me to test that strength without gluing the magnets in, which I wanted to do with you guys. So right now I'm just wiping off the excess of this. Then we're going to put one of the heads on. Once I know this is completely dry and nothing's gonna... Because that's the other thing. The glue needs to be dry.
Yeah, because you don't want it to peel it off, right?
I don't want it to peel it off, but I also don't want it to just... There's a little bit of glue here and a little bit of glue here, and then it glues itself to itself, and then the head's stuck on.
Oh, yeah.
And all of that was a moot point anyway.
Test your favorite head first.
Right.
Samwise says, do they keep small animal companions? Being out on the plane, they will need to be aware of weather and dangerous creatures, the same as farmers, right? So the first thing I thought of whenever I saw that question was that they would probably have, each group would have at least one well diviner.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
They might spend a long time, months or even years before they see anybody else, and they still need to drink water, right? So if they're staying out there, they're going to want a fast way to find water if they're not near streams.
Also, if I flipped the magnetism.
Suck. You're going to be gluing it on anyway, then. Forcefully. Make it fight the magnet. Does it feel like that's what happened? It doesn't look like that's what happened. That's cool.
That one fell off, though. These magnets might. Oh, it does feel like that's what happened on this one.
Oh, that you went backwards?
It feels like it's rejecting it, like pushing it away.
Peel it off the head. It looked like it's pushing it off.
Okay, so this one's definitely not pushing it off, but you can see it's not strong enough.
It's not strong enough, or it's pushing it?
No, this one's definitely not pushing. I must have put this one wrong.
Oh,
but it's not strong enough. It'll be strong enough to hold this head if it wasn't rejecting thing. Son of a bitch.
Give me a drink.
Damn, that sucks.
I'll switch this to dual, so watch. You're okay, though. Hopefully everybody's experiencing a little better action cam now as Dawn's working, because we've, throughout the week, been making changes to our settings and stuff, too. To hopefully make a crisper, clearer image.
Yeah.
Moy says the well diviner definitely sits on the captain's shoulder. Yes. Agreed. That seems like it would be a pretty valuable creature among the other ones, like you're mentioning the weather and stuff like that. I'm sure that they're gonna have a host of those creatures that we know help them see the weather coming in. The tools too, like the mica screens that they use to identify acid storms and things like that. definitely those creatures. Um, they're very successful. See where they've either bought or stolen an arrow blank too.
I would think they would definitely have a weather rodent too.
Yeah, that's what we were just about.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
Nope.
like so in my own little like.
I mean, I was being
frustration
general,
world.
but
Oh, I'm so annoyed
shoulder
right now.
rats. I'm just gonna say. Well, I was gonna add to this. So I can see that Aeroblink, the really important thing is that they have potentially an accomplice longshore that watches the edge, where the edge is where it's on the eastern side of Longshore, where they're parking. The farmers are parking their land ships. They're getting ready to soon leave and head off onto the plain. So I can see they have an accomplice that says, "Hey, you got 3 ships leaving out in this direction or whatever right now," and of course the Aeroblink is going to get there before farmers do, a long time before.
Okay. Just that towel. I think that's what I did was I flipped all of them. Well, regardless, I already know, like, should be strong. Have it in there right to hold it.
The Rock Band says, "Do they raid new farms not well protected?" You know, I think that's a good question. I mean, I guess this starts splitting it again. Are they large groups or small groups? And I can see smaller groups raiding newer, um, not as well protected farms, right? As going to be easier targets. But I could also see maybe even large groups saying, "We don't. You're a medium-sized farm, so you already have some wealth built up. We just have to get at it." Copied it. I did.
I'm gonna spend this whole episode just trying to get this damn thing to stick. So I left a long line between the two. And so that I know they're all in the right direction.
Yeah.
I'm just holding it in place until the one on the body drops.
Samway says, also, maybe the most well known group is named after the storm because they are so dangerous and notorious. Hey, I like that.
Have we named the storm yet?
No, I've had some ideas, but I'm holding off to see what ideas people have. It's a good enough placeholder that I agree that would be intimidating, right?
Yeah.
Did it?
Still setting it. Sure I can. Basically, I'm using my toothpick as a not glue. As you can see, the other side of that tooth. That is on.
Hey, that's strong enough, huh? I mean,
So yeah, you can't like bang him around, but
when the group wins, you tap him and his head falls off.
so he sits like that. Now that one is right. Okay. One has no. Okay, so that is the way to do this. For me, anyway. Basically, what I did was I attached a row of them like this, put glue in this spot, and then held it like that to make sure I had it the right way. The other way to do it, you could like mark X on the side you don't want to glue, or you don't want to see, you know, whatever, and do it like that. But what I'm going to do is the exact opposite of what I just did. I'm going to clear all the glue out of there. Then I'm going to glue it and hold it like this. And once the glue is secured, it should be in the right direction. Because I just kept flipping it. So if one side of it was painted, I would know which side to use and not use, and or if I was just better with magnets. All of these things could happen. But this method works for me. So now I'm going to sit here and clean this out.
All right, I added a miscellaneous section.
Ow.
So I really like that you mentioned this, actually, Samwise, because I've considered this too. Now, my initial reasoning for what I'm about to read is just because the way they name things, at least so far in the project, is the plane, the plateau. That when it's a really big thing, it's the with a capital T, right? So Rockfan points out, I like leaving it as the storm because nothing compares to it, so everyone knows what you're talking about. Exactly. When you say the plane, unless you're sitting next to a smaller plane elsewhere, somebody says, "Hey, walk over there," you know, unless there's context to direct you elsewhere, then everybody knows what you're talking about when you say the plane or the plateau. So the storm, that makes sense to me too. And the other point that Rockfan makes is pointed as well because well, I'll give the example after. Rockfan says, or it has a name, but people just call it the storm anyway. The other example that we have of that on Cathar is Yuck. Everybody calls it Yuck, but its actual name is the Northern Wastes. Remember now. Called the Northern Ice Wastes, but it's shorter, and everybody knows what you mean when you say it's Yuck. We have a couple of examples of where these points make a lot of sense. I like that. I'm going to keep those thoughts in mind. I think that makes a lot of sense for this.
I also could see a pirate wanting to be named the Storm.
Yeah. Pirate group.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I knew what you meant. Captain Thunderbeard of the Storm Pirates, says Samwise. I like it. That's fun. Although it makes me initially giggle. Thunderbeard makes me giggle because you know why? Go ahead, say it.
Taser face.
Taser face. Yeah, hearing this from outside of my head, other people saying, I really am thinking that. Just be straightforward. Call it the storm. Anyway, says over the top and extra as hell, just as a pirate should be. Yeah, too.
All right. If this doesn't work, then it doesn't work, and I'm going to move on and actually paint something.
Hey, Ghosty.
Hey, Ghosty. You joined right after the annoying magnet fiasco, but I think I have it straight now. Oh my god. I've literally spent this entire time trying to get these magnets right.
It's only 40 minutes. No.
Oh my god.
Well, I mean, we 5 to 10 minutes that we were starting soon,
Okay.
So maybe 30 minutes.
30 minutes of magnet work, but hindsight, pay attention to what side your magnets are. Okay. So here is head 1. And here is... I'm done. I'm out. He's finished.
Yeah.
I could give a shit less about it and the rest of it. I'm so fucking happy with myself right now. Oh my god.
Samwise says, I mean, Blackbeard literally lit his beard on fire to intimidate his opponents. Pirates are extra, yes. Ghosty says, but it worked though, so worth it.
Yeah.
I think in the grand scheme of things, a half an hour was not for your first time.
For my first time ever doing it, and like I said, the struggles are real, man. We should do this shit together. But
yeah.
Totally worth it. Totally worked. So
it's fun.
I had to flatten the peg out so that I could put the magnets in, because the pegs actually fit into the pegs here perfectly. But yeah, so.
Samwise says, yay, interchangeable puppers heads.
Yep. They got tea for teefers. All right, so now I'm going to actually start doing shit.
Like you weren't doing anything before, huh?
It absolutely did not feel like I was.
So I'm sure I don't have all of the notes that we could fill. In fact, I've just added miscellaneous, right, to kind of remind me of maybe the best name. Oh, I thought you were going to say them.
No, I'm just showing them.
Maybe the best name for the storm is just the storm. So much sense to me.
I think so.
But anyway, this pirate specific stuff I've got so far are just culture, famous pirates that we might come up with. Actually, let me put this last one about Captain Thunderbeard.
That's gonna be a rough one.
I like it.
No, I do. I really like it, but we've compared it to Taserface, and now every time somebody says Thunderbeard, Taserface is gonna pop in my.
We've got culture, famous pirates, famous pirate groups, and or land ships. Because I do think that most of the groups would be like, we've got a large ship, but you don't necessarily see that because everybody's going out on faster mounts or vehicles. Anyway, is specialized defenses against pirates. We can talk about that. I haven't thought of anything yet, but I know that there could be some really good ideas. Specialized pirate tools we've already started on. So we've got several sections, and if we need new sections, Samwise says maybe they are called that because he has some sort of electric weapons. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, that's definitely a thing, right? We've already. He could be a maybe Captain Thunderbeard is a storm master
Yeah.
or keeper. Sorry, stormkeeper.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That is fun. I dig it. My mind keeps getting stuck on the Blackbeard thing now. Like, what would Thunderbeard do? Oh, well, I guess he would actually have lightning flying around him.
Um, I don't know how this would work, but when you were talking about like specialized defenses and things like that, one of the things that I thought of is oh, my head's going crazy now. Oh, I don't even know if I'm going to get this out before my head goes in the next place. You know how in the animal world, things puff up to make themselves look scarier, right?
Yeah.
What if you have a ship that can be manned by a very small crew? It's a specialty ship, but it can be manned by a very small crew, but it basically has an outer shell that makes it look huge. Like a ship this size would have a crew of 2,000 people, but you can
It's
man it
like a puffer fish, right?
yeah, but you can man it with like 100 because there's a huge section of the ship.
We got to talk about scale because that's an enormous ship. 100. Like usually a land ship has maybe.
No, I'm talking about ocean.
Oh
We're talking about pirates. I'm on the water.
no, we're on the plane.
Oh, okay.
I'm glad you've been paying attention.
I apparently have not. You said pirates. I went water.
Well, I'm still going to use this for land ships. Yes, that would make sense for on the water that many people.
Right. Okay. So now let's
I can
just
still
switch
see
the scale. Like
Yeah.
you have one that looks like it would be manned by 50 people, but it can actually be manned by 5,
3 or 4 or 5. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's a puffer ship. You even like that name. Oh, and that reminds me of something else that
Well, I'm going to add to that too. In that so we have a tool that is commonly used called the quiet camp screen. It's essentially naming the technology where these artists are able to paint the large canvases to hide the people that are behind the screen. So I can see maybe there's an act instead of having the screen where you bring it up near dusk and then you slowly wrap it around yourself and then you start camp after dark, right? Maybe it's one you use during the day that makes you look larger than you are or further away or something like that.
Oh. So I'll let you do that, but
Okay.
I'm gonna add to the thing you just said.
So basically the best pirates because they found an ancient town. Gonna be
Or would that be with Lightning Beard, Thunderbeard,
oh
Taserface?
that their specific group is okay.
I think that's what Rockfan is referring to.
I gotcha. That's a saying in general, but maybe Lightning Beard also got his name from an accident that left shocks over lightning looking streaks of white in his beard. Oh, that's fun.
Kind of want to do that to my own.
Lightning streaks. Uh, Ghosty says that could be a really cool idea, Dawn. That was
The land ship.
yes.
Puffer ship.
Yeah, let me add that.
It's a puffer ship. I love that name.
I'm going to say specifically land ship too, because I think we can use the idea like your original one on the water, but also
Yeah.
it's the same way says, but he lived. Absolutely. Second, I like Dawn's puffer ship. That's good stuff. All right, Dawn.
Okay. So adding to your idea of the screen, right? So one of the things when you're out on the plain and out on the plateau, you want to be quiet. You don't want to attract predators, right? So most of the time, the farmers and such are on the quieter side. They do their work and they go about their day, right? But the puffer ship idea, you also have recordings or some of the mimic creatures trained to sound like humans wandering your property, sounding like other workers talking.
Wow. Which one you said, the mimic?
Yeah, that mimic creature. So you've got them trained to sound like people, just jabbering, just talking about, random things that a farmer's crew would be talking about. But just to make the size of your crew sound larger as well.
Love it. Love it.
Because it would be a lot cheaper to have and keep 10 of those creatures than it would be 10 more hands. It's just, puppy chow. And that's it, but they can literally just wander your property. And so their voices are constantly everywhere else. And maybe each one has 3 or 4 voices that you can train them to speak in.
I like it. Let me add that 3 or 4. Love it. Love it. I love it. I love it. So Thunderbeard is apparently a favorite. Gonna add a potential campfire story.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's a very rich area.
Add this. I know, Rock Fan, you didn't specifically say this, but excellent. Ghosty says, cool. So, what if Lightning Beard could somehow be able to create storms using some ancient tech, or at the very least, project an image of a storm? Oh, that's so
I
it
like
almost seems like he has a thunderstorm following him. Could be like the intimidation thing.
I love the idea of you always see a storm.
So, the interesting thing is, so we were talking about just before you got on how maybe he is a stormkeeper,
Right.
like the adventuring career. But this gives me an idea too that that's like an illusion. That's not really an illusion, but it still can be intimidating, even if it's not doing anything. Because you're throwing up your seed, the capsules, right, to create that storm anyway. Whenever you're a stormkeeper, so maybe you have one that is for intimidation or for show or whatever, that instead of having just this relatively small storm over your battlefield, you've got this big, giant, intimidating looking one.
Yeah. Yep. I want to do that.
I dig it. I dig it both specifically for this guy. Actually, maybe it's even something that we can introduce with this guy if we write some stories on him. By that, I mean that this isn't like a common use. It's
No.
something he's developed.
Yeah, he's figured out how to do that.
Well, I guess. Well, I say that, but actually, could be a woman with a fake beard on that has lightning streaks in it.
Oh, there are bearded women too that have.
That's a good point too. Samwise says, I also vote for Taser Sword. Taser faces Taser Sword. Right? I'm immortalized. Taser Sword. Dig it. That is something like you don't even want to get touched by it, or maybe you don't even want to get it near you while you're sword fighting with somebody. You're like, stay back. You don't want to get stunned by the sword. That's fun.
I'm in my own head again, sorry. Of playing with the idea of like the Dread Pirate Roberts thing, but we already live longer here, so I don't know if it works or not.
That's just scale, though. I mean, that's just scale. It just instead of what was it like? You do this for 5 years and then you hand off the Dread Pirates
you hand
title
off
to someone else.
You hand the title off to somebody else. You bring on an entirely new crew, and basically you retire after you've been on the crew with the new guy, the guy that's been under you for a while, calling him the same. Get the new crew, and you're calling him as the first mate. Then you retire.
So just
he's the name.
Instead of it being 5 years, maybe you do it for 20 years.
Yeah. But of course, nobody knows that's what's happening, so this one pirate is just fucking immortal. Use my language.
You're really bad.
Yeah, well, I was frustrated with that, but this time I don't know why that was.
Someone says he could have learned to make the crazy storm from the accident that gave him his name.
Ooh.
That's
I like that part
really
of the backstory. Fun. It was a shocking idea. Had to make a bad joke.
Samwise says that's good. I think we're talking about the Dread Pirates idea.
I think so.
Yeah, I like that idea. Some sort of a switcheroo idea. It's going to be kind of blatant, obviously.
But the fans who like it, like it. I'm one of those fans who love it. So.
I'm going to do a quick update. We have new tools that are letting us do things faster. And also, we got fresh out of the con slump that we were fighting last 2 months.
way longer than 2 months, but
So the
that's
good
part of it, I guess.
Yeah. So the good news for subscribers is that we have the 2 campfire stories are done. They just need to be finished proof and then formatted. The newsletter is done with the exception of we already have the story for it and everything. It's just the excerpt from the Longshore Courier that we need to finish that. And that should be done today. We'll be releasing that today. Which means there's going to be a whole bunch of this month working on Terra Old novella. Or novelette. We'll see where that lands. It's somewhere. It'll be close to novella if it's not a novella. Because we released 5th section last month. There's 13 sections planned. It's going to be a novella, I think.
I think so, yeah. Are you done with that update?
Yeah, I thought there was something else. Our brain isn't.
Well, we wanted to talk about what we talked about yesterday. Yes, you should.
This is a whole new music thing, so I've already. Hey, yep, and I've got it set here. That's not too loud for you, right, Dawn? So what were we going to talk about?
So we also wanted to mention glitter yellers.
Oh, yes. The new creature that we based on cheerleaders.
Yes. Okay, so so I was watching TikTok, and there was this little thing where they were talking about different things that they forgot what the word was. And this one woman said that she was at a football game and forgot the word cheerleader. So she referred to them as glitter yellers. I was telling
Glitter yellers.
Glitter yellers. So I was telling Ty this story, and all of a sudden a creature for the plane popped in my head. So we developed a creature yesterday and we wanted to share.
So yeah, glitter yellers. That's fun. So we made it into one word, glitter yellers. And this is a flying creature, maybe twice the size of a hawk, I think. It's not a huge creature compared to most of the stuff on the plane.
Right.
It is a flying creature, but it looks similar to an ocean ray, like a saltwater ray. And it has on its underside, under its belly, it has a dark skin with sparkle spots on
Like
it.
really, really dark, like blends in with the night sky. And that's the whole thing is
They're a nocturnal creature.
You look up and you don't see them because they blend in with the stars and the black from the sky itself.
Yeah, so you just think it's, well, that's funny. It looked like those stars moved for a second there, maybe, right? They're not a huge threat to people. They might be somewhat of a threat, but they're not like terribly dangerous. I think like swarmers or something like that. But
Yeah, no, nothing like that. It's they're large enough that you'd be worried maybe about a small cat or dog or something like that. But not even a small child.
that's kind of what I imagine, is that they might go after young hopperjacks or something like that.
Yeah, it's nothing really dangerous to us, but it's what they do that makes them actually very useful to us.
So similar to a hawk, they want to scare up their prey, the small rodents and stuff like that. So even though they're only about that big-ish, they make a sound that is enormous and sounds like a much larger creature, and it's loud and screechy, And so it scares prey up to run so that they can see it and hunt, right?
Well, not only that, if they're close enough when they do it, it'll stun them. And they'll
So we
like,
didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, I mentioned it. I don't.
Oh.
I think we were so excited about everything that we didn't get everything down.
Well, we have to stop to start making a creature that does everything. Stop.
Right. So it can actually stun, you know, if it's close enough to its prey. So it can do its call and scare something into running, and then swoop in, do it again, and stun it, and it can get it.
Yeah. So, but people will keep them as in like cages and put them on the edge of an area. Like if a farmer has it, they might keep them on the edge of their property because they're so loud that if something walks up on them and startles them, they're going to make that big sound. And the farmer, it's like a early warning system. And Dawn even got really wild with this one in that some people have figured out how to take their vocal cords out and do tripwires that use the vocal cords and still make that sound. Ugh. So again, like an early warning system. See, stuff has gone by here. Try to get this in a good order. Yeah, I know I gotta come back to that. I'm gonna come back to the patrol stuff. Let's see. Yeah, Samwise says that birds sound cool and some might like them as pets. And then says, no, this is Captain Thunderbird's pet. Captain Thunderbeard's pet. I like that.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
Excuse me. I'm gonna paraphrase this. I gotta come back to the defense because we're talking about patrols here. Go. I like it. Much cooler than a parrot. He comes with a bang. Yeah, right? Maybe trains him to like just at the right time. He does a hand signal while he's trying to get information out of somebody or something to have that noise intimidate them, right? Okay, let me back up a little bit here. Samwise asks, is there a specific crew that is hired to patrol for pirates? And I imagine that this is going to be very much like on Kethar's tier, where if you're around an area where people live, like Longshore, or on some of the islands, that they probably do have people that are going a certain distance out. But they're going to go a couple of months, maybe, right? I think after a couple of months, you're kind of on your own. Because who the hell wants that job? You know, unlike... You're going to get your civil servant pay, but to guard people who are going to be barons, you know, they're probably like, you got an army, figure it out, right? But I can see where that's important, especially when you're leaving civilization to go to the plateau, where you don't have as big a crew because you don't have the money to hire as big a crew to protect you. Well, the one family I'm writing about now, the Gross family, it was just them. Two brothers, the one brother's wife, and kid was born on their way out. It's just the three adults, you know. I imagine they would use sneakier methods, quieter methods to move on out there. But in any case, I do think that they would have groups. I think I note. Here we go. Not with the magnets again.
No. Trying to make sure that none of the routes on this match up with these routes. Make sure that I get a blend that works through the right area, but none of them do. So
So I should have read on because actually Samwise acknowledges what I was just mentioning about the amount of time it takes to get places and where you would actually be guarding. That is exactly right. Bird sound. Oh, it's a living flashbang. That's what Ghosty said.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, it is. Oh, that's awesome.
Bang. Now we need to. Samwise says now we need to come up with an epic enemy constantly hunting Thunderbeard down for revenge. See, now that is a good, like, even though we're saying a guard group would only go a couple of months away from Longshore, right, and patrol this side of the Great Sand Slip, probably this side, the western side of the Great Sand Slip. You could see where these guys get bounties on their heads, like these, like Captain Thunderbeard, right? And then it is not only bounty hunters looking for them, but probably the mayor of Longshore saying, we need a group to go out there and stop this guy.
Yeah.
Tempted to call him Ahab. So even though we don't have a name or anything, I'm still going to note this stuff because we can name things like pretty goofy good with coming up names. I think under justice. That's too on the nose. I agree. Since we're already toying with the idea of doing a Dread Pirates-esque. But I don't know. We'll play with it. Maybe we'll end up calling Baha Ahab backwards.
I mean, considering it's a classic, I could see that book becoming, something that still survived. And then, this person wasn't born with that name, but he took that name on.
Okay. Well, let me take these notes.
I mean, that sounds like something that would have happened. Or could have happened.
May has yeah. We've talked about that before, where it's like, how do these things survive? This is 3,000 years after Tech Age. Figured out. Now maybe they're a famous bounty hunter named Ahab, right? How about Long Arm? Long Arm's a fun name. I'm noting this.
Long Arm of the Law. I like that.
Yeah, it's just like a fun name for a bounty hunter, right?
And I could definitely bless you. I could definitely see that guy being famous for going further than anybody else.
Long Arm? Oh yeah, okay. Okay. Samwise says, because he's developing distance fighting to avoid the taser sword and flashbang bird combo.
Sorry, I'm still just getting taste.
Taser. Can't say face or taser without us thinking. Also, he is the long arm of the law, right? Dawn gets it. Yeah, Pretzel Rocks is the music we're trying now, so you'll see those messages pop up. Trying to choose songs. Trying to let it only play songs that are also YouTube safe. Just repost streams, which I'll be doing later today probably too. Because now I'm 4 behind after this stream. Where I'm at. That was one nice thing about multi-streaming. That
It just
happened. I didn't have to do any extra work. I'm going to get another cup of coffee, Dawn, so I'm turning it over to you.
I'm dry brushing.
Talk about it.
Super interesting.
This is Dr. Peter J. Hackrip, and I have a warning for you. Someone has altered the stream.
Right, let's see what's happening now here. I don't know if you scrolled down or something because I can't even see who picked it. Yeah, I don't even know who used the points. Oh, Sam did. Okay, so how are we altering? What are we doing? Sam said I had enough, so I'm assuming they meant they had enough points, so they're altering the stream.
Right.
So now we're going to figure out what we're doing. So I pick a mini or color. It's basically, if you want to alter something that I'm doing right now, you can do that. Or you can pick what I'm going to paint next week. Completely up to you. How you want to alter the stream is your choice.
Because we don't have anything in the Alter the Streams channel on Discord, you can just go to the shop and pick something.
Yeah. The only rule about alter the stream is you can't alter what somebody else already spent points on, which no one has spent points. I'm doing the points that have been spent up to this point, so you're free and clear of that one. The only other thing is if you pick something that is ginormous, I will scale it down so that I can do it. If you pick something tiny whiny, I will scale it up so I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only two kind of things. But yeah, you can actually pick something that you want me to add to this. You can pick what you want me to do next week. Completely open right now. I don't. Shh. Still a little. I wish they were a little stronger than this.
Samwise asks, is the fairy dragon from Epic Minis next week too big?
That's the one with the butterfly wings, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
I would definitely have to scale it down. But I can still do... Or is that the tiny one?
I'm going to try to...
Yeah, because there's like two different ones. I don't know, like sometimes I don't remember which one is which.
Oh, and they're both from Epic.
Yeah.
Too.
So yeah, there's two different ones. There's one that sits on a branch, and then there's one with the big giant one.
All wings.
Yeah.
So like the one on the branch has 2 sets of wings, and then these looks like one set of wings on this guy.
But the one that's sitting on the branch actually has 3 different versions of it.
Oh.
So if you click into the smaller...
Samwise says the one that isn't eating.
Yeah, I read that. That's what I'm saying. Like the other one, this one that you're pointing at right now, that one actually has like 3 different versions. So that still doesn't help. See, that one's not eating anything, it's just sitting on a skull, and then that one is ripping something. Oh, that one is...
Yeah, so...
I think you mean the one that has the big giant, like, butterfly wings that come back. But regardless, you can also drop a picture. Yeah, okay.
The butterfly wings?
Yeah, I think you mean not this one, but the other one. No, go off of this one.
This one?
That one over there.
Okay.
Yes, I can do that. It's just going to be scaled down so that I can complete it. And between Saturday and Sunday, be able to complete it. I don't have to finish in one day.
That is going to be fun.
Yeah. Or the baby on the branch, whichever's easier. Actually, bigger is easier on me. The baby on the branch is actually fairly small. So I would scale him up in order to do it. Let's see.
Yay!
I kind of like the way the fur looks.
And one says, okay then, big boy.
Okay.
I'm gonna go get my Kathy.
I will bring him down a little bit, but not a whole lot. I like that. Thank you for spending points. It does make it to where I don't have to think so much.
For deciding what to do.
Sometimes it's easy because I have like a commission I need to get done. But the current commissions I have done or have to get done are not really easy to do on screen. They're all on the larger items. So I am thinking about making up yesterday's missed stream.
Oh, on Tuesday.
On Tuesday. Kind of been batting around the idea of doing another Tuesday night tutorial sort of stream.
Yeah, there was a couple of notes from the last one that things to cover next time anyway, right?
Yeah, well, and specifically, I had a couple of requests to go over contrast paint and metallic. And I could legit spend an entire evening talking about those two type of paints. I could actually spend an entire evening talking about one of those kind of paints. So, I think what I'm going to do is do Tuesday night, and we'll announce it in the Discord to be sure. Because if I get overwhelmed by getting shit done on Tuesday, then I will obviously not be able to do that. But I think it's going to be fun.
And one says, I am also going to the post office tomorrow for reasons.
You're so sweet.
Yeah.
Another quick announcement about the shop. So everybody knows already that we are doing cute little
They're called whelps, right?
they're turkey or they're Thanksgiving whelps is what they're called on our store. I've shrunk them down and we're shipping each one of every order gets one. So
Till they run out.
until they run out. Yeah. And then starting December 1st, I found something else to ship.
That is going to be fun.
Those are going to be fun. And I'm not going to tell you what they are.
Talk about it at the end of the month or something.
They're presents. So I'm excited because I found.
I'm thinking of turduckens, says Samwise.
Yep.
But with raptors.
So yeah, I was really struggling to find something that fit for December, and I found it, and I'm makes me super super happy. So basically, yeah, exactly like Ty said. Same thing with their turduckens, the dragon or the Thanksgiving whelps. I print a certain number, and then when I run out, and I go back to our decorative base giveaway. I like adding something extra. box.
Yeah. We're still talking about content change, or well, I'd say new content that we're gonna do. I think the first piece was actually this speed paint that we were.
Yeah, that's what I was about to mention. Was we got that done? I was super happy to get it done. I did a lot of work in editing, made it awesome. We know what we can do better next time, so each one should get better.
I'm gonna paint one of the muddy bases for my baby griffins the same way. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean it's fun because having a decorative base is a lot of fun, and I really enjoy base work.
Mm-hmm.
I think you guys have heard me say it a gazillion times. I can spend more time on the base than I spend on the mini, easy.
Let's see. Content also mentioned last week. Don't know when yet, but it's getting close to where we're gonna try writing a Crowd Forgers campfire story on stream. I need to pick one, get my bullet points, and then we can just figure out when we're gonna do it, right?
Yep. Also, what we did yesterday.
What we did yesterday.
So
There's the headache. I worked on edit.
once I finally got my headache under manageable things, I still couldn't see well enough to like actually paint, but I could see well enough to read. So
we've got 2 audio things we're working on, but they're going to be for YouTube videos for telling campfire stories. Something subscribers have known about because they took part in deciding, is this something we want to do even, right? But the 2 we're working on, can I say that?
Mm-hmm.
2
Absolutely.
we're working on. One is Scarecrow, which Dawn wrote months ago. I think we just released it, actually. You can read it in text, but we're working on the audio editing right now, and we will get a video together for it too, to tell that story. And the other one we're working on is Gareth, Wellfinder Gareth and the Golden Cops. Gareth has actually voiced the parts for Wellfinder Gareth. The viewer Gareth has voiced those. So we have 2 that we're working on there. I don't know when our release is for them yet. Hopefully not too long. It's a new kind of project for us, putting all this animation. It's gonna be interesting. I haven't gotten to that part. How much is gonna be video and how much is gonna be animated stuff?
How much is just going to be a still image?
Still that moves around, right? Yeah, I don't know yet. But I think it's gonna be fun. I hope it's gonna be fun. The idea is to sort of do a lot of that next year. Try and get some more folks interested in.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that one actually was a lot of fun to record. It was way more stressful than I care to admit. But it got done, and I think each time we do it, I'll get better at it. And I am very much looking forward to doing the next one. And very much looking forward to doing more of the speed paints too.
Yeah.
So that's all going to be content for...
And we've already got the next one planned, right?
Yeah. So it's all going to be more content for our YouTube. So if you're not subscribed over there, go subscribe on our YouTube as well, so that you can get notifications.
I hope this looks better to everybody. I just love the settings changes that we made to the action cam. It just looks so much better.
I think so too.
I didn't even mess with... We were a little busier than intended for us to be, because we made sure exposure was right, and that's about it. Oh, that's right. We did mess with this. I bet it doesn't zoom in any. Now, about it, but Looks nice and clear, though.
That's the bigger. I think that matters more, that it looks really nice and.
NY says it looks good to me. Over the last couple of weeks, we've made resolution changes, but we hadn't made them to our individual cameras. So.
As and.
Campfire stories and short stories. The other thing is, I know we've already mentioned, and I think it's going to be something relatively soon. I mean, I'd like to have it next couple of months, if not by the beginning of next year, is a post in our Discord, I think, probably explaining how people can get paid to write fire stories, that sort of thing. We're still figuring out the legal part. I think I'm settling on word count payment and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to figure out on our end so that we can make it
doable.
Simple for everyone else.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, doable for us and simple for everyone else, and also fun and financially rewarding.
Yeah. And I think I might have said something like this before, but I haven't put any effort into it yet. But also figuring out a way on cryptmonkey.net to post just, their plain story without mucking about with me, maybe. So we should talk about that too. Samway says the legal paperwork is literally the biggest thing stopping me from selling my pins on. The legal paperwork, you mean to like start your own business, or I don't know. That stuff is kind of like, it's a hurdle. I mean, you get through it though, and it's not like you have to do that every year.
No.
Yeah, frack. Go on, Rochelle.
He was so occupied.
Business and taxes, yeah. Taxes, I definitely suggest using an accountant.
As an accountant, I suggest using an accountant.
Yeah, Dawn's an accountant, and we would still prefer to have somebody else do taxes whenever we can wing that. So, my state just makes everything so complicated. And I know for us, it's not just about so for us, the state part is to a great extent. It's having that legal document there, but also having the DBA, the doing business as name, that thing. And then there's also your city or county live in may have rules as well. I know we've got both. We've had to do both. So we have our city license, but we also have a state doing business as name, that good stuff.
I will say that,
and the federal tax.
I will say that Etsy takes their very fair, more than fair share of fees and everything else. But as far as collecting sales tax and dealing with distribution of said sales tax, Etsy just takes care of it. So anything you sell on Etsy, they collect tax as it's needed, and they pay it to the state that it's needed, and you don't even have to.
Right.
So. But be prepared for their fees.
But with all of that stuff, it's just like running through one obstacle and then you're kind of free to work again. Right?
Yeah.
My work uses Shopify. I think, doesn't Shopify also do the state tax and stuff for you, or no? No. Okay. Like it'll collect it, but then you still have to manage the paperwork part and stuff because we have to deal with that for conventions.
Yeah. For conventions and stuff like that, we use Shopify because Etsy, you can sell in person directly from your shop, but they still collect their fee. So I don't use them.
Yeah, because they're not really doing anything for us there. No, but they can do shipping. Yeah, we use them for shipping things outside of Etsy a lot. Details? Is that what's going on here?
Partially details, but partially I just remembered a conversation that I was having with somebody about Etsy. Because every so often I get questions. Just somebody will send me a message on Etsy asking me questions about how to set up their shop on Etsy. And one particular person was very sweet, and I was happy to help. But then the questions started getting a little bit too much. Where it was, every 5 minutes they had a new question. I'm like, okay, eventually
I have to charge you for this.
Eventually, basically at one point he says, well, how did you figure out how to do taxes and do this and do that? And I'm like, well, you can just hire an accountant. And he says, well, how did you find an accountant? Or no, I know what it was. He goes, how much did it cost you to hire an accountant? I said, 4 years in college.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what accountants cost in your area. I don't know. So some of the questions were really one of those things where it's something that I know because I've gone through and dealt with it. And other questions, I'm like, I don't know how to help you with that.
Sam White says that's what Google is for. Yeah.
At one point, he asked something about, or he was asking me some question. My answer was, the reality of what you're asking me is you can have a marketing person, you can have an accountant, you can have a lawyer to set up all of your business accounts and file all of your business names and all of that other kind of stuff, which LegalZoom will do for you, actually, and they're reasonably priced. But basically you get those kind of 3 people going, and yeah, sure, you can get your online store just up and running right out the door. And he's like, and Etsy takes care of all of that for you? I'm like, what? Like, no.
Yeah.
No, Etsy's a platform. That's all they are, is a platform. I'm like, I was completely shocked by that question. I was like, no, because if they did, then all of their fees would be well fucking worth it. So, no, it was funny because we do all of that stuff ourselves, so it cost us years of college. Years of Googling things. Okay, you're too big. Alright, Ghosty, I got a question for yous. There is a very wide debate on the color of Fenrir's eyes. Help. I don't know which one is right. Guy's over there just typing up a storm. I'm like, what's happening? What's happening?
One of my favorite sites, LMGTFY. But yeah, in the office, when other software developers would come and ask me how to do things, I would end up sending them a link to LMGTFY with that question.
As a mom, I have said the sentence many times, I'm not Google.
Oh, it's not the same that it used to be. Now it makes the person you sent the link to type it in. It used to bring up a video of Google and then type in your question and then bring up results. Now it doesn't do that. Now it's like, type, how much does an accountant cost here? Oh well. Green eyes, Samwise says. If we're taking votes.
Well, on the one with the sword, I know I'm going amber because that was one of the that was one of the more common answers I got was an amber eye, and he's also depicted quite a bit with a like flaming sword. So, and this sword is a moon sword, but it very clearly has flames on it. So I want the eyes and sword to match on this one. But this one I'm kind of open for what to do. I'd like to stick with the...
Amber is a normal wolf eye color.
And Fenrir had amber eyes.
I know you were asking Ghosty. Ghosty might be lurking.
Either way, I know I want him to have light, very visible eyes, so I'm getting them to the white first. Was that payback?
No, I didn't do that. That was Samwise. That made me jump too. That's payback.
That one didn't get me. This very much makes me think of the Nothing from...
Oh, the never-ending story?
Yeah.
I got you there. I saw that.
That one got me. Not even going to try to lie about that. That got...
Someone says, I was trying to get Ghostbusters' attention.
And I partially want to know what Golden would like his eyes to be because he's actually the one that spent the points to see him paint. I'll take more of his opinion over anyone else's, basically because he spent the points. Same thing for next week when I'm painting the fairy dragon. Your opinion will carry a lot more weight than anyone. Damn.
Oh, I don't know what I do with my vacation hat. Sit here and pretend like I'm on vacation.
No, how about you actually,
Take a vacation?
talk about pirate?
We were talking about that stuff. Got a lot of cool stuff.
What time is it?
It is a little more than a quarter till 1. You are not going to be done with this. Or we can just keep going. I don't want to do.
Okay with keeping going for the moment, for sure.
Okay.
Not starving yet, but... can see that wrecking us. Again.
Well, one thing I would add here is that I think we'd have another group, and I don't know what their name would be.
Kind of fun to paint two heads at once, you know?
Yeah.
Except I forgot.
I also headcanon Ginger Loki.
None of that happened. What? I also headcanon Ginger Loki.
Oh, so Ghosty said, I think green would be a good color. Like green. I pretty often see Loki associated with green. So
Which makes sense because Loki is his dad.
Mm-hmm. It makes sense that his son's eyes would be green. Myth's eyes are orange and red. So I'd say either green or orange and red.
Okay, well, I'm going to do the orange-red kind of amber glow with this one because that way it matches with the sword. And then this one without the sword will have the green eyes. This is the ear that I broke while I was cleaning off supports. So basically it was a nice clean break, and all I did was just clip in to make it look like something take a bite out of it.
Samwise probably saying they like that in canon Loki's a ginger. I don't know.
Yeah, that one was Loki too far off the rail.
My head goes straight to like the Marvel Universe Loki.
Yeah. Oh, there's a new thing that oh god, I know what you're talking about now because there's actually
the game.
The game is doing that we were talking about.
Yeah, God of War.
Yeah, God
pictures
of War.
We were looking at maybe. There was the ginger.
So
Thor,
maybe
right?
headcanon referring to that. I don't know. Headcanon just too far off the rails for me on this one to catch what you're talking about.
Samwise says, I think Norse myth looking was sometimes portrayed as ginger. Okay. Ghosty says, I'm head canon Loki has ginger hair. Pretty sure in myth his hair is blonde or anyway, green or red red and orange eyes.
So this one is going to be green. This one is going to be amber orangish, so that I get the sword matching with it.
Okay.
Which I think I'm going to move on to the sword right.
So I was going to add that there'd be another. So I think that like pirates. We're back on pirates. The Storm pirate group would be one that their thing is the special weather tools that they're using, stuff like that, right? And then I think there's just going to be like Zerg type group that is just huge and can be devastating to even a large scenario. Now it's just one group, so maybe maybe it's like being struck by lightning if that group finds you, right? But same thing with the storm. But got their accomplices, right? Maybe their accomplices are letting people know, hey, they're leaving. You can catch them in this area.
Yeah.
Samwise says, I mean, they are Viking gods. Yep. Ghosty says, since he's a shapeshifter, he's pretty inconsistent, but I think it's most often described as hair color is like the only description we have of most gods. Kind of funny how that works. Burps again.
Better than the sneezes.
Yeah. Now I got the stuffies instead of the sneezes. I mean, I feel okay. It's probably just allergies.
It's still annoying.
Ugh. So one of the things I've thought about on specialized tools that pirates are using, right, would be, I think I mentioned earlier too, like faster, less, fewer people, like one or two people on a mount or a vehicle.
Yeah.
Again, that's sort of like the Mad Max thing, something sort of swarming in on you from different angles. I think a lot of pirate groups are going to use that sort of thing.
It makes sense. It does. Kind of cut off that escape route,
Yeah. Well, and attacking you from different sides. I mean, pretty much that. So the thing is if you're pulling a land ship, you have an open front end, an enclosure where your dog oxen have come out of. They sleep and they come out and then they get yoked up. And they slowly pull this thing. You're watching the horizon. You see pirates coming at you. Unfortunately, because you're a slow mover, that means you are pulling the dog oxen in, closing it up, bringing your wheels up so that your land ship rests on the ground and can't be rolled away. And then it's whatever defenses you have for your ship.
Right.
You're in place trying to defend yourself. And that's the way the whole group is going to work. You're not going to keep rolling with mercenaries fighting around you and stuff. The mercenaries, everybody have to stop and defend against this attack. That's if you're leaving the plane. Coming on the plane, then it's just probably you and your land ship. That doesn't mean you're not going to be attacked, because they know you have the day-to-day stuff that they may need to take from you. Food, water, or whatever.
Right.
But then also, you're going on as a farmer. You've got starter seeds probably with you, but you've figured out another way to get them ahead of you, behind you, whatever. Samway says, what about traps for ships? Oh, hey. Would pit traps work, or maybe some kind of quicksand trap? Yeah, I can see that. Like, you've planned ahead, you know they're coming this way, and you have some sort of pit trap, like you said, is a great idea. Especially if you are a group maybe that has some way of getting quick messages from someone who has told you, this farmer, there's this many people and they're headed this way. You should see them in a couple of weeks, whatever, right? That kind of lends itself to other possibilities. You think about the outlaws stopping trains by covering the tracks,
Yeah, I like that idea a lot.
Like just throwing some sort of a debris thing up and making it hard for... Oh, maybe that's like a whole planned out thing. Like, you want them to cross this river at this place. So you keep putting obstacles up that forces them a little north and then a little south and a little north until you get them right where you want them when by the time they get to the river, right? The other thing I was thinking is the sand trap too. Maybe that you figure out a way that you force them to stop on the Great Sand Slip and make it so they can't move, but you keep moving around them. Oh man. I mean, you're talking a couple of hours and your ship is sinking.
Yeah, you've got no time to mess around with that at all.
And when it says rival group to the Storm Pirates, the Plane Shakers. Oh. Rival group too, I like that. They've got their own little turf war going on or something, right? Yeah, that's fun. Oh, I just love developing the whole world. All these little details that come up. And that's what's been fun about crowd forging is other people having a different perspective and angle on it. The plane shakers, they specialize in ground trap. Okay. Yeah, the sort of barriers, and I do like the idea that maybe you herd a group to canyon that you want them to go through or whatever, right? That is going to help you have the offensive advantage.
Yeah, it's sort of like the the tribes killing the mammoth sort of thing, where they guided them into the funnel, you know?
Right. I'm going to add another note here. Defenses against, like, maybe need to develop defenses that some people have that they've figured out. We'll get trapped on the Great Sand Slip or in the middle of a river, and then we don't have long, and we just kind of have to meet their demands. Well, if we have a way to keep the dog oxen moving and pulling, I don't know what that looks like yet. Some sort of a defensive thing.
I mean, maybe that's still in development, you know? Maybe there's
Something new, right?
something new.
It'll let them keep moving under siege so that, okay, we know we have to stop, but if we can just get another day's worth of travel, we can push off of the Great Sand Slip, and then we can bring our wheels up and fight back.
Yeah, I could see a lot of pirates using the Great Sand Slip as a barrier of get them stuck here, and then they're screwed.
Yeah. Yeah, and like the canyon idea, I like that, where you have, maybe it's not canyons, but, you know, ravines, things like that, where you've managed to get them into a spot where they kind of don't have any choice but to follow a certain path because they end up in a ravine, and then they get deep enough in the ravine and you're attacking them from the top. So if you have defenses where you climb up on top of your land ship and you have some sort of rail weapon up there or something to defend yourself with, well, now people are above you, dropping boulders or firing rail weapons at you or whatever, right?
Right.
One of the things I think I mentioned recently, talking Dawn, was we focused a lot on the sort of Old West culture of people. We should probably do some more of the cultures that are a little more European. Like Kern Clan is a little more European, the way that they behave and talk, and all of those things. But we should probably tell some stories from those other culturally different groups, right?
Right.
And eventually maybe tell some stories from the stories from our nomads on the plain too, specifically on the plateau, but you know.
Yeah. I'm wet blending, so I'm trying to
Hurry.
move quickly, yeah.
Well, that reminds me, you said that, and I look over at the speed loop. I try to add things like that in the near future too, where it's describing what technique
I'm
you're
doing.
using.
Because that was something that I was like, you know, you can't really tell what I'm doing. You can just tell what's happening.
Yeah. MY says, oh, the more European areas should be snobby. I don't know. I just think they'll certainly have different accents, even if they have similar.
Locally.
Well, I mean, cultural behavior might be similar in a lot of ways, just based on necessity, right? Even the Old West style people, like the Longshore folks and stuff. We talked about architecture. They still have like castle type walls going around areas because it's a safe way to protect you from invaders, but also large creatures, right?
Right.
The world has forced them into some of those habits and behavior. Maybe have some of the oldest and most historic settlements. Maybe have some stories about them. Oh, the snobby people. I gotcha. Yeah, because they're doing the whole we have this long lineage thing, right?
Yeah, I get that entitlement to the authority because we've been here the longest, sort of.
Right. Yeah. It makes them feel entitled to authority. Coming from New England, the passive aggressive sense of superiority is real. That's one way of getting it. Obviously, Americans, we have lots of excuses to do. Texans, coasts, I don't know why, but that way just because we're on the coasts. Yeah, and then the opposite of that is I've always felt like people in Missouri are too subdued and don't toot their horn enough. I do. Maybe it's because I lived all over the country. I got a big ass ego. I got a Texas size ego wherever I go. Sam says they could actually be falling behind by sticking to traditions. Oh, that's an interesting story point. It wouldn't fit the Kern clan.
No, the Kern clan would be the opposite of that. They're
because they
leading.
have that other pressure on them that they have to, right? I can see if your town is popular because of the food or something and you're an old town, you may have that ego that could be crushing you, right? Sense of superiority that could be sending you backwards. Like, I guess that's a good example. If you're famous for your food, people don't really mess with you too much. For generations, then you may let yourself weaken, thinking nothing's ever going to happen to us, and kind of makes you easy prey for somebody that just decides, well, take over here.
Yeah.
It helps the Kern clan stay on top, Samwise says. Yeah. Yeah, in a lot of industries too, right? I mean, it's not like, even though there's this big explosion of invention all over the place on all continent, the Kerns are exploding in invention is still focused around combat and war. They're certainly not the ones who would come up with the idea of the river crawler, right?
No, because they would never come up with something that would further like invade some sort of area. They're always coming up with the defensive sort of things. They're never looking at the offense. They're always looking at the defense.
Yeah, they're happy with what they've got.
Yeah.
Which still makes them, I mean, their weapons are still great. They still build the best offensive weapons, but not for the purpose of invading. But for the purpose of constantly
defending from as far back as, you know, how far away can we keep these guys?
Yeah. But also just staying on top of those offensive weapons, because they know that their offensive weapons are getting sold all over the place. So shortly they'll have to defend against the weapons they've just created. Well, the nice thing about the new music thing that you had me look at, Dawn, is that you don't have to keep
Restarting it,
right?
Basically, I'm only working on really one side of the sword. Make sure I like how what's happening. Then I'll just repeat on the other side.
So you're done wet blending. Hey, Brett.
Because when I wet blend, especially in this kind of instance, I don't have like the smoothest transition. I wasn't worried about being a smooth transition from one color to a next, which wet blending can give you these beautiful transitions. But what happens with the dry brushing over the top is all of my transitions get pushed underneath that. So you lose the spots that are not smooth. All these different colors happening at once. And I'm bouncing back and forth between the orange, the yellow, the brighter yellow, and the white. I was putting a little bit of red in there, and I didn't really like how it looked, so I just kind of stopped. But that's what I meant of like, rather than trying to do both sides of the sword at one time, and going, oh, well, I don't like how any of that looks. I just focused on one side.
So and has another good idea here. When it comes to the Kern clan, maybe people get outdated Kern clan tech and repurpose it, create an advancement in areas the Kern clan think are pointless, creating weakness in the Kern clan ego. Certainly they think it's pointless if it's science for the pure science of it. Even though they will pay for those things. They'll pay for the advancements in those areas to pick up on advancements that they think might help with military.
I find it difficult to think of them weak in any area just because they've been so strong for so long.
Yeah, over 800 years.
I understand what Sam is saying. It's just hard to imagine them being weak anyway. Because 800 years they've held this stead. We're not saying that they're never going to fall.
Right, yeah. Right now, we know they have 2 armies headed towards them. Instead of just one, they've only ever faced one. They've got 2 different kingdoms that are like going to split them up. What?
Yeah, it sounds like a phone dialing. It's weird.
Oh. Ghosty says, does it shoot, stab, harm, or destroy? No, then it's pointless. Yeah, that's pretty much how they would think about it. Even though, like I said, they may financially support something like that because they suspect they can get something that shoots, stabs, or harms out of it. But, I mean, if you take the best turn-built railgun and figure out a way to make a breathing tube out of it for underwater diving, they not really care much about that. But if you flip that on its head and go the other way, they're probably real interested. Of course, that's oversimplifying, because if you figure out a way to be able to breathe underwater, then they're like, oh, so we can infiltrate, we can like sneak up next to a camp by a river or whatever, right? They're pretty clever about coming up with things that can be used militarily, even though it wasn't intended that way. Their survival depends on them being the most well-rounded and powerful clan in the world. Yeah. Now I can see
that side of the world.
So there's different kinds of Navy SEAL stuff, right? With the breathing tube thing. So the thing is, weakness, though, I mean, you have to look, there's different forms of that, right? They could still end up being weak for focusing on what they focus on and nothing else. All of their financial power comes from military and from the aeroblink. But if somebody comes up with a new technology where aeroblinks are obsolete, yeah, I mean, they need another reason for war at that point in order to support themselves. So I think the point is still crystal clear that focusing on one thing for anybody is potentially but at the moment they don't have cell phones, so So are you liking it? Did you switch to the other side?
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah, there you go.
This side obviously is going to go way faster because basically what I did on the other side was, this color combination work? This work? Does it work? Yes, all good. Okay, cool. Repeat steps.
That sword is crazy. All right, I'm still watching if people come up with ideas or whatever for the pirates, but I am gonna open up some other notes and crowd forging for campfire story.
I think that. In a spot where I don't want to stop, but I am getting toward the hungrier side.
Yeah. I will. Better at being able to switch with. This is the campfire stories that we had crowd forged before. We had the Whistler, which attracting Whistle in the frequency that matches the crystals that arrow blinks follow. So whether it's a built thing or it can actually just whistle or whatever, but in do a Pied Piper thing.
I remember this now, yeah.
We have a Well Diviner story, which if I remember right.
That is Earth.
Rock fan.
Well Diviner Gareth.
No. Well Finder Gareth.
Oh, okay.
No, this is about I'm trying to remember if this was the one that's like a it warns people of upcoming danger, so it's like a Mothman thing almost.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, like a guy's like, quit following me around kind of thing, maybe. But it's really just trying to warn him that something bad is coming.
Gotcha. Nope, forgot that one. So.
Oh.
Starts off looking like a hot mess. Ends up looking nice and clean. So. Kind of proving the point of just keep working. It's okay if it looks like shit when you start.
Sam is back. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Roasty says, well, Definer Garrett just goes around defining well to people.
Well.
Oh, lost the internet. That's why you were. So we have a ghost story. Wallop. Got Wallop there as maybe that's the place. Maybe a story about a roaming creature that most people that see it disappear. Oh, so elements of this were actually used in Golden Ghost Story. You can look over that one and see if there's other elements that pull out a different story too, though.
Yeah.
Because there were points made about maybe it's you see it and you'll die in 3 days and that sort of stuff. Cryptid researchers are looking for it, so there's other stuff. Bigfoot. Yeah, well, our Bigfoot was recently. Oh,
Ghosty says, "A ghost story? Is that what you said?"
Walking cactus. Shush. There's a story there for that. Werewolf. Were-dog ox, maybe that would be fun. Last month we did do I don't want to say what it is right now. I already did or not, but we did use a were-creature last month. That was fun. Halloween month. Folk hero story. Rockvan says a local folk hero like Johnny Appleseed or Paul Bunyan. Yeah, I mean we've got plenty of Mark tales. Plus there's a couple other ones we've named but haven't told any of their stories yet. Like the Immortal guy. Something the Immortal, I can't remember. Stalker story. We've started using that already because that's our Golden Ghost is a stalker. Lightning story that was used. Ghost lights. Ghost lights over a crystal spring. That was something you came up with, Dawn. That could be fun. One. Giant mystery creature. What about a campfire story about someone trying to find massive mystery creature? Makes the whale type noises. Yeah, that's a good possibility there. Here for Nellie Dworm. That's the GP, the judge type. Oh, that she has a torture room in her cellar. Yikes. Is a small private mercenary group that helps keep competitors in check.
So you're reading these. What's your thought process here?
I am just reading them, seeing if anybody's like, try to do that story. You know what I mean? If nobody gets excited about anything in particular, then I'll still pick something.
I think it should.
The Nellie Dworm one?
Yes. Funny, without context, it sounds really strange. Golden Ghost is a stalker. That makes me look bad.
A member of the Stalkers Guild. Okay, well, that's just a group of stalkers now, but... so maybe this one, the Nellie Dworm one.
Oh.
mean, there's certainly hints already about this kind of thing potentially being true.
The best way to beat a stalker is to stalk. God damn it, I can't say it right.
The best way to beat a stalker is to outstalk them. Yeah. You follow me, no following you. You just walk in circles. So we had an idea about a stuck trap sort of scenario where maybe you're stuck in your land ship and you can't get out because there's a unicorn that's just hanging out outside. Someone getting trapped on the top side or inside of their land ship with night swarmers going around it. That's fun.
I remember that.
I think that could be a good possibility there too. And that's it. The other stuff is game-oriented things. Yeah, I'm thinking one of these last two, maybe. I like, even if it's not marked, maybe doing a folk hero thing too soon. Or doing
I
that
think
one
so.
on. All right, so we've got 3 to look at that we'll decide which one will work on stream. I'll get bullets ready together, whichever one. So that I'm not sitting there chewing on the end of a pencil while somebody watches me on. Ghost says, I remember that one. I'd love to see that one. The Night Swarmers one. Yeah, I think that's one of the possible 3. Obviously, we've already used elements in a couple of the stories from several of these. So there may be some, like my version of Wet Blend.
Yeah.
Mixing these guys all up. How are you doing now?
Working hilt of the.
I meant for like time and patience.
My hunger determines my patience. But again, I'm like, I don't want to not finish.
Okay. Yeah, I wish we could. I have to look. Well, obviously you're out of focus now.
I still think even zoomed out it looks.
Yeah, I mean, there's other things I can do that's going to be terrible. Do this live. It's going to be things where I bring it in closer. You see this, Dawn? I've covered up parts of the screen.
I mean, bigger.
It's a little bit. Doing something like that for the main screen. I don't know. It's nice to see everything around you too, though. NY says steak tip night. Ooh, steak tip. Yummy.
We're making turkey breast.
Like a primer for Thanksgiving, right? We're just getting ready. Getting prepped.
Basically, it's just something very simple. Just gonna make some mashed potatoes, corn on the cob, some dinner rolls, and turkey breast. Done.
So, do you want me to announce the winner? Okay. And let me results. I'm pretty sure I know what it is, but I'm not positive. So for the poll of what are we going to give away at 150 Twitch subscribers. Subscribers, is that right on Twitch? Followers. Okay. Excuse me. Yep. It is going to be 5 mystery mini boxes. One of which is going to... Why are you making that face?
Eek.
Oh, I thought it had to do with this.
Nope, sorry.
So it's going to be 5 mystery mini boxes, one of which is actually going to be a mystery bag. But one of those 5s, we won't know which, right? We'll figure out a way to pick randomly where we don't know which box has got it, but somebody's going to get the whole mystery bag, which is a little bit more than just one mystery mini.
Yeah, I will actually pack everything up in the exact same box. So they will all look identical from the outside.
Hey, spelling are hard. Trying to put the notice in the Discord. Mistyping you.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's gonna. My mom makes amazing homemade cranberry sauce. Same one.
Man.
I like it. I like cranberry. Turkey dinners are so good, right? We don't do it that. We do it this time of year for Thanksgiving and Christmas.
No, I've
That's
done it
about
for
it.
Easter as well.
Yeah, usually though we do a ham on.
Normally, yeah. I can eat the ever-living crap out of some turkey, let me tell you. Oh my god, I could eat it for days and 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 days. I love turkey sandwiches.
Yeah.
My favorite thing in the world.
Dawn likes the cold turkey sandwiches. I like mixing it up.
So
Some hot, some.
my favorite thing to do is take my leftover turkey, make turkey sandwiches, which would make you think that my favorite sandwich meat turkey, but it's actually not. I don't like sliced deli meat turkey at all. I like the big rough cut chunks of turkey after I've baked. Literally eat that the rest of my life. I have actually baked a turkey just to make sandwiches out of it.
Gotta stop the poll. Alright. The poll is over.
Aww.
That's cool. It was pretty early on. You could see that it was leading by a higher percentage, that the 5 mystery, which is.
I was pretty sure that's what was going to win, honestly. It's not a surprise at all.
Cold turkey and ketchup. It's the same way. Turkey chunks are superior. Yeah, I like the turkey salad too.
Yeah, I've done that quite a bit with the leftover turkey. I got all this gray out so I could dry brush on his stand and his base, and I didn't touch any of it because I've moved on to other things. This is why I prefer not get that stuff out before.
Ghosty says something about mystery boxes are just so much fun. I agree,
Well,
actually.
It's
fun.
not only that, it's like, it feels like that's us, more us than anything else that we've done, you know?
Well, it's fun too that we don't know what's in there. The last couple of times we don't know what's in there, and we find out when people post about it. Who gets a painted one, or what fig they got, or whatever. It's fun. I'm gonna leave you alone.
I'm so close to done. Now all I can think about is my turkey sandwich, but I haven't even baked the turkey. Ugh, I've already started the rolls. They're rising. put them on the stovetop this morning. Got them ready. They need to rise most of the day. When it's cold out, it's difficult to get bread to rise properly. Gotta let it go longer than what I would normally. I also have to be careful that they don't overproof, which can happen. Like this music, it's not 100% perfect, but it's pretty good. Definitely nice that it doesn't quit on me.
Is that your phone buzzing?
No.
Must be mine all the way in the other room.
Thought it was right there a minute ago.
My phone? Mm-mm.
Yeah, kind of wishing the turkey was already baked. I'm like, that's stuck in my head now. Turkey sandwich! That's definitely not what I'm gonna have for lunch. Ditched me again, guys. Oh, that's funny because my mom texted me.
It was my phone in there buzzing.
Big ass asking about Thanksgiving plans?
No.
Asking.
No, it was actually, he tried to share a video with me yesterday, and then when I finally went to go look at it, it wasn't available. But it was apparently a video of our father dancing. I don't know why the video doesn't show, but it's like, I guess you're just gonna have to come out and see us, and then I can show you the video.
The land he has now is so nice.
Uh-huh. He's out in the country. In the country.
Word is close.
All right, so Ghosty, later today, newsletter should be out for subscribers. Probably starting tomorrow, I'll get done with proofs on the stories that are already done for Campfire Stories. And then I'll be working on our olds for not the rest of the month, but a great deal of it, because I got to work on the postcards and the getting the Campfire Stories that go in packets finished. Because I'd like to get those sent out this month. For the month. Something like that. Feel like I'm forgetting something else that we mentioned earlier.
You want to get his eyes done?
Sure. No, I'm just trying to make sure I mention everything before you get. Oh, that on the newsletter, that's what I was probably thinking of. Newsletter just needs the excerpt from the newspaper done, and then that'll be out. Dawn wrote our Campfire Story for this month's newsletter.
I don't remember if that's the one was going in this month or not.
Yep.
Not what I meant. Oh my god. I'm having paint malfunctions. Trying to clean the damn lid. Or tip or whatever. Right brush. Just the right time of day where that sun is starting to beat the crap out of me over here. Oh, you are not the one with green eyes. You are the one.
What?
I'm doing eyeballs.
And you thought I was going to do a sound effect or something? No, I was just considering again that I wish we could get a little bit closer in instances like this. I mean, definitely worth it having the better resolution. Ghosty says, gotta head out. It was fun. Enjoy your sandwich. We got fog and overcast here. Samwise says, yeah, see you, Ghosty. We got fog and overcast here. Perfect fall weather for Sam. Yeah.
No, not here. Had turned the heat on last night. I'm thinking we need the air on today.
Yeah. Well, this office gets warm. I'm being all quiet watching you.
Well, his eyes are just large enough that basically what I'm doing is, obviously a much smaller section.
Uh-huh.
But that, then, well, basically, kind of that big area is the bright green. I mean the dark green. Then I've taken this area and made it the lighter green. And then I'm giving that a minute to kind of dry up. And then what I'll do, come in smaller section, might even do a line, do the pupil.
Uh-huh.
But just like, so there's a lot of times where if an eye is large enough, I'll even do the lines in from the outside of our iris.
Uh-huh.
If an eye is super small, then you get white and a pupil. That's it. But if it's in this kind of range, then I can do the outer rim to be darker, the inner area of the iris to be lighter color, because that's how our eyes naturally are, and then to give them the pupil as well. A lot of times on a character model, you get a white eyeball and a black dot as a pupil, and that's it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll put I'll put a blue dot, and then I'll try to do a smaller black dot, and sometimes the blue shows, sometimes. But I know it's there, and it makes me happy.
Uh-huh.
Other people do what I described with the big eye, where, when I do one of those big elaborate eyes that are huge, and I'll do the outside dark color and then the inside light color and bring the streaks of the iris in, and then they do the pupil and then do the little white dot of glow, and they do that on a character model. I'm like, what the hell? Do you have little gnomes that are painting that for you? What the heck is happening? My head just exploded.
Samwise says, eyes are hard no matter the medium.
But I enjoy painting them. I really, really do. I love painting them. It's just having the ability to actually I put the black paint directly on the hat like an idiot, so I keep looking around going, where the hell is the black? Because I keep losing it on my
camouflaged in there.
Yeah, I lose it on my palette.
Nice.
Oh. The other things I like to do is kind of deepen underbrow. He's, a black wolf, so black, but normally what I would do is whatever shade I'm using on the skin tone, I like to either deepen up here or under here to just kind of highlight. If I darken the other color around, the white looks brighter.
Yeah.
Naturally.
In that contrast.
Sometimes I do it because I need to clean up where I painted the eye. Other times when I the eye well, don't need to clean up. I still do it because I like the color. It's a lot like putting on eyeliner. It just makes that eyeball stand out more. So these eyes are actually a lot easier because actually just one solid color. There won't be a pupil or anything. I'm just going to make them... I'm thinking the fire lizard.
Ooh.
Haven't made up my mind.
Excuse me.
One of my favorite colors. I do really like the lava orange. I have the mythical orange. You know what we're gonna do? A little bit of a blend of the...
Samwise says, he is looking so mad I just want to boop him.
Right? Sir was very mad at me this morning because I kept booping him. He wanted to growl at the door, and I was like, nope. I booped him.
I think people were blowing their leave or something. Like, hey, all that racket out there.
That would be a good example of... I'll need to come back and a little bit more black, right? There it is.
The black. So excited this looks better. I know I keep talking about it, but it's always really frustrating to just was too fuzzy looking.
Yeah. And I could take it a step could take it a step further and make his eyes glow. And I wanted to do a glow effect from his sword, but here's where the glow effect falls short. I do a glow effect from his sword to his body like I should.
When you switch heads.
It makes no sense.
Right. I wouldn't do that.
I'm just not going to do a glow effect. But I do get that other orange out. I hit a little bit more on the sword with the... Here's the thing about that contrast paint. I could actually apply a yellow or orange contrast paint to this entire sword, and it would bring it all into one kind of family tone.
Yeah.
Going to like what way it looked. Good. It's one of the things you could do to fix if you didn't like how the blend had happened. Wait a second. Not the best fire sword I've ever done, but it's a pretty good one. Oh, let go. Nope. I'm off of there. Damn it, sticky dot. Why it holds on so well. God.
To you.
So he is definitely not done, but I don't think I'm actually as far away as I think I am. And I say that meaning I think another hour I'll be done.
Oh.
So another 4, I should definitely be done. But I'm pretty happy with the way that looks. I still need to yuck up his ear some more. Where it broke.
Did you finish the base?
No. That's part of the reason I'm saying, I think
Maybe
it'll be
4.
another 3 hours, but then I'll get onto that base. Not longer.
I really like that you did that.
It's really fun, right? I'm really glad I did that. So this is all going to be stone. And this is going to be kind of dirt and stone. So
12 out of 10. Trust to protect me. It's the same why. No kidding, right?
that is super awesome. And works really, really well.
I love the missing ear now.
Yeah. Yeah, and if it was going to happen on either one, I was so happy it happened on this one.
Uh-huh.
You know? So. Now that I have the magnets right, it works very well. So the only other thing that I might do, and I don't actually think I need, so my concern was the inside of the heads are completely unpainted, right? But if you turn and look,
It's like a good seal.
there's no, I'm not seeing the unpainted section of the head.
Then what says, now I need to order magnets on Amazon.
I will post a link in Discord of the magnets that I got for this, because there were a lot. So I definitely want to touch up like on the underside of the chin there, because I can see that. So if you're looking and taking the wolf and inspecting it, you will see that. I think maybe right there and right there, maybe right there, I'll touch up that spot. I'll just paint them black.
Probably just cheap enough to get free shipping.
These magnets, I think I spent I think they were $5.99, and it's like I don't even know how long it's gonna take me to go through these.
Well, it was like 200 and something.
We looked at a set that was 500, and then we looked at a set that was 200 or 250. So I don't remember what the set was, but
Lot.
it's a lot, and they take up no space. They came with a nice little case, so I like these.
I'm glad they came in the case. We talked about that yesterday. I'm glad they came in the
Yeah.
case because I was worried they were going to be like in a plastic bag or something. Be all right, but it seems a little.
Yeah, case is definitely better.
Nice, look great.
It's a little loose, but again, you set him down, he's fighting. He's not meant to be slammed out on the table, because if you slam him out, there we go. I knew it was gonna fall off. It took a lot more than I thought it would. But yeah, I'm happy. So I'm gonna go eat I'm gonna actually start the turkey baking, and then I'm gonna eat. I don't know what I'm gonna eat. Something I'm eating. This I'm hungry. But yeah, I'm really happy, and I love the sword, and I love the wolf, and I will post pictures in Discord, and I will finish him up at some point. I'm not exactly sure, but he will be soon done. Viking makeup in full force. I had a lot of fun with that too. It was actually really quick too, and it's like it's way more decorative on my forehead than my bangs allow you to see. But you know. All right, bye guys. We'll see you
folks.
later.
Thanks for hanging out.